The Atlanta International Airport buzzed with early morning energy as Shaquille O'Neal's massive frame cast a shadow across the terminal floor. Even at 5:30 a.m., people couldn't help but stare. Some pointed phones in his direction, but Shaq was used to it. 20 years in the NBA and countless commercials had taught him to tune out the attention. Today was different, though. Something in the air felt off. Shaq checked his watch. 5:45 a.m. He had exactly 3 hours until the grand opening of his new community center in downtown Chicago. The place would give hundreds of underprivileged kids a safe space to play basketball, get homework help, and dream big. Missing it wasn't an option. "Sir!" a sharp voice cut through the terminal noise. "Sir, I need you to step aside." Shaq turned to find a TSA agent, badge reading Thompson, waving him toward the special screening area. Nothing unusual there. At 7'1" and 325 pounds, Shaq typically got extra attention at security checkpoints. "Of course, officer," Shaq replied with his trademark grin. As he stepped toward the screening area, he noticed Thompson's hand trembling slightly on his scanner. Weird. The regular security line had grown longer, with passengers crowding to watch the scene unfold. More phones appeared, recording. Shaq maintained his smile, but something about Thompson's demeanor made the hair on his neck stand up. "Arms out, sir," Thompson ordered, his voice carrying across the terminal. Much louder than necessary, Shaq thought, almost like he wanted an audience. A young girl in the regular line tugged her mother's sleeve. "Mom, why are they stopping Shaq? He's a good guy." Shaq winked at the girl, but his mind was racing. In all his years of travel, he'd never met a TSA agent quite like Thompson. The man's eyes darted between Shaq and the growing crowd. And his badge? Something about that badge. "Looked off? Sir, you've been flagged for suspicious behavior," Thompson announced, again projecting his voice. More phones emerged from the crowd. Suspicious behavior? Shaq kept his tone light, but his stomach tightened. The Chicago kids were waiting. He couldn't afford delays. "Yes, sir." Thompson's eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity. "We have reason to believe." The agent paused dramatically, and Shaq noticed a small red light blinking on Thompson's chest pocket. Was that a camera? Before he could process this detail, a familiar face appeared behind Thompson. Sandra Chen, the airport's head of security. Her expression suggested this wasn't a routine screening. The clock read 6:20 a.m., 2 hours and 45 minutes until the community center opening. As Thompson reached for his scanner again, Shaq caught a glimpse of something in the agent's back pocket. The corner of what looked like an old photograph. Little did Shaq know that photograph would change everything about this morning. And Thompson? He wasn't at all who he claimed to be. "Sir, I'll need you to empty your pockets," Thompson commanded, his voice echoing through the now silent terminal. The crowd had grown to at least 50 people. All phones pointed toward the strange scene unfolding before them. Shaq complied, placing his wallet, keys, and phone in the gray bin. As he did, Thompson's hand brushed against his own back pocket, as if checking that something was still there. The photograph's edge peeked out again, and this time Shaq caught a flash of red and white, colors he recognized from somewhere but couldn't quite place. "You seem nervous, Officer Thompson," Shaq observed quietly, just loud enough for the agent to hear. Thompson's face twitched. "Spread your arms and legs," Thompson ordered, ignoring the comment. His hands shook more noticeably now as he raised the metal detector wand. Sandra Chen, the head of security, stepped closer, her eyes narrowing at Thompson's badge. She reached slowly for her radio, trying not to draw attention. "You're making quite a show here," Shaq said, maintaining his calm demeanor. Any particular reason? Thompson's eyes darted to the phones recording them. Just doing my job, sir. You were observed displaying suspicious behavior. What kind of suspicious behavior? Shaq asked. The young girl from earlier shouted from the line, "Yeah, what did Shaq do wrong?" Thompson's face reddened. "Sir, you were seen." He paused again, clearly playing to the cameras. "You were seen attempting to conceal an unauthorized item." The crowd murmured. Shaq's expression hardened slightly. "Officer Thompson, we both know that's not true. Are you refusing to comply?" Thompson's voice cracked slightly. "No," Shaq replied. "I'm just wondering why you're lying." The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. Thompson's hand went to his back pocket again, and this time the photograph slipped, floating to the ground between them. Before Thompson could grab it, Sandra Chen's foot came down on the corner. Her radio crackled to life. "Security team to Terminal B." Immediately, Thompson's face went pale. On the ground, the photograph lay partially visible. A basketball court, young players in red and white jerseys, and a familiar figure standing tall in the background. The timestamp on the photo read Summer 2003. The same summer Shaq had run his first youth basketball camp in Louisiana. 30 M. The community center ceremony was 2 hours away, but Shaq suddenly realized this confrontation wasn't about security at all. And Thompson's real identity? That was about to blow this whole situation wide open. Social media exploded. Shaq at airport started trending, with videos of the confrontation racking up millions of views in minutes. But none of the watchers knew what Shaq had just realized as he stared at that fallen photograph. The basketball court in the image was from Belle Chase Middle School, just outside New Orleans. Shaq remembered that summer clearly, the humid Louisiana air, the squeaking sneakers on hardwood, and most importantly, a skinny 14-year-old named Marcus Thompson who'd shown up every single day, desperate to make it big. "Step back from the photograph," Thompson ordered, his voice less commanding now. His hand moved to cover his badge, but Sandra Chen had already seen what Shaq noticed earlier. The slight discoloration around the edges, the missing holographic seal. The crowd's phones kept recording as Thompson's facade began to crack. A notification buzzed on his own phone, visible in the gray bin. "Going viral! 500K views and counting." "Marcus," Shaq said quietly. Thompson flinched at his real name. "What happened to your dream of playing point guard?" The terminal fell silent. Even the airport announcements seemed to pause. Sandra Chen's security team appeared at the terminal entrances, moving slowly closer. Thompson, or Marcus, glanced at them, then back at his phone in the bin. The view counter was still climbing. "You don't remember me, do you?" Marcus's voice had changed, dropping the artificial authority. "I was the best player at that camp. You said I had potential." Shaq remembered more now. Marcus's determination, his quick handles, his perfect form on three-pointers. But there had been something else. An incident on the last day of camp that changed everything. 45 a.m. The community center's opening crept closer, but Shaq couldn't leave. Not when he finally understood what this morning's chaos was really about. A new notification pinged, "Live basketball legend confronted at airport. 1M watching." Marcus Thompson had failed to become a basketball star, but in the next 15 minutes, he was about to become famous for something else entirely. And the real reason for his elaborate scheme would stun everyone watching. 7:00 a.m. 90 minutes until the community center ceremony. "I just wanted you to notice me again," Marcus said, his voice cracking. He pulled out his phone, revealing a live stream setup. Like you did that summer before. Before what, Marcus? Shaq asked. Though he already knew the answer, the security team inched closer. Sandra Chen held up her hand, signaling them to wait. She'd spotted something else, a small package tucked behind Marcus's TSA podium. "Before you caught me stealing from the other kids' lockers." Marcus's words exploded across the terminal. "You kicked me out of camp, said I'd never make it with that attitude. And you were right." More phones appeared in the crowd. The view counter on Marcus's live stream hit 2 million. This was never about security, was it? Shaq gestured to the fake badge. "This whole thing is just another theft, stealing attention this time." Marcus's hand trembled over the package behind his podium. "I'm a content creator now. One viral moment can change everything. And this?" He laughed shakily. "This is going mega viral." 7:05 a.m. Sandra Chen's team had surrounded them completely. But they didn't move in. Something about Marcus's behavior suggested he had one more card to play. "The package, Marcus," Shaq said quietly. "What's in it?" Before Marcus could answer, a voice rang out from the crowd. "Hey, isn't that the guy from those fake airport prank videos?" Marcus's face went white. His perfectly orchestrated moment was unraveling, but not in the way anyone expected. On his phone screen, comments flooded in. Someone had made a connection that would expose everything, and it went far beyond a simple airport confrontation. 7:15 a.m. The live stream chat erupted. "Wait, isn't he that guy who faked the pilot confrontation last month? OMG, it's the fake security guy from LAX. He does these setups for views. Check his backup TikTok account." Marcus lunged for his phone in the bin, but Sandra Chen was faster. On the screen, someone had posted a link to a hidden YouTube channel. "Behind-the-scene pranks, Airport Security Edition." "Marcus," Shaq said, realization dawning. "How many airports?" 12, Sandra Chen answered before Marcus could speak. "We've been tracking him. LAX, O'Hare, LaGuardia." She held up her tablet, showing security footage of Marcus in different airports, always with a fake badge, always targeting celebrities. But nobody had ever played along long enough for him to go viral. Until now. "The package," Marcus said desperately, reaching behind the podium. "Don't you want to know what's in it?" "We already know," Sandra Chen replied. "It's empty. Just like all your other suspicious packages in all your other attempted viral videos." 7:20 a.m. The community center waited, but Shaq stood his ground. Something still didn't add up. "Why me, Marcus? Really?" Marcus's eyes darted to the old camp photo. "Because you were right about me, all those years ago, and today." He glanced at his viral view counter, now showing 5 million. Today was supposed to fix everything. But what Marcus didn't know was that the real story, the one about to break in the next few minutes, had nothing to do with airport security, viral videos, or even basketball camp. It had everything to do with what happened the day after Shaq kicked him out of camp, a detail so crucial it would change how everyone saw this morning's confrontation. 30 a.m. Sandra Chen's tablet displayed one final piece of security footage, not from today, but from 20 years ago at Belle Chase Middle School. "Play it," Shaq said quietly. The crowd watched on their phones as the live stream showed the tablet's screen. There was young Marcus, the day after being kicked out of camp, sneaking back into the gym. But he wasn't there to steal. He was returning everything. The footage showed 14-year-old Marcus emptying his backpack. Watches, wallets, phones, all the items he'd taken. With them, he left a letter. "You still have it, don't you?" Shaq asked. Marcus reached into his back pocket, behind the old photo, and pulled out a worn piece of paper. His hands trembled as he unfolded it. "Dear Shaq," he read aloud, his voice echoing through the terminal. "You were right to kick me out. I'm not returning these things because I got caught. I'm returning them because you taught me something about character." The live stream counter hit 10 million. "That letter," Sandra Chen said, "is why we've been tracking you, Marcus. Not for your pranks. We needed to verify something." She handed him an envelope. Inside was a job offer. Head of social media security for the Atlanta airport, specializing in preventing viral airport scams. "You've been studying airport security for months," she continued. "Not to break it, but to understand it. Every prank exposed a real security flaw. Your reports, submitted anonymously after each incident, helped us close dozens of vulnerabilities." 3 a.m. Marcus looked at Shaq, tears in his eyes. "I needed you to see. Not just that I changed, but that I used what you taught me. About second chances, about making things right." Shaq checked his watch. "Then help me make something right. There's a community center opening in Chicago in 45 minutes. Full of kids who need to learn the same lesson you did." Marcus removed his fake badge. "I can get you there in 20 minutes. I know every shortcut in this airport." As they rushed through the terminal, Marcus's phone buzzed one last time. The final view count: 20 million. But this time, the story wasn't about a prank. It was about redemption. And in Chicago, a group of kids was about to learn that sometimes the best lessons come from our biggest mistakes. Speaking of life-changing moments at airports, you won't believe what happened just last week when Shaq encountered a desperate mother traveling with 3 kids at LAX. One simple act of kindness sparked a chain reaction that would touch millions. Watch how a first-class seat swap turned into something much bigger than anyone expected. Click below to see the heartwarming story that's making waves across social media.